What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Payne. Welcome back to another Street Fighter Duel video. That's right, guys, we're jumping into a showcase and we're going to talk about a character that I probably should have talked about pretty early on, but I wanted to save him for a little bit just because a lot of new players are jumping on and a lot of people are actually using him way more often now that they understand how useful he is, and that is none other than the MVP, in my opinion, of the game, outside of course, M. Bison, and that's going to be none other than B. Zang himself, Beast Zangief. Funny thing about this character is when we first all started playing, we looked at this character, we're like, this is nonsense. Like, some people use him as food, some people just didn't even bother wanting him. Nobody really understood his utility until we all started reading his kit, and then we're like, holy crap, this guy actually brings so much to your team and for your progression to PvE. So much so that he almost is impossible to go throughout PvE content without being a whale. So if you don't have him, you're going to struggle, and we're going to explain why and what makes him probably the most useful character in the game. So let's talk about everything that he is. So first off, he is a wind character, a power type, is a balanced class, and he is a fighting style savage, which gives him plus 25 attack. Now you can see here he's got 3 bonds: himself as regular Zangief, Blanca, obviously because he's a beast, and Dalsim. Dalsim, I don't understand why. We can read their bios sometime, but we won't do that right now. Alright, in terms of his actual best fighting soul, you probably don't want to go with Marshall. That was a mistake. I don't know why he's on there. Echo is a really good one if he's going to be your main tank, which he does tank for a lot of people, but he's really there to do interrupts. So Echo is okay if you're looking for extra heals off of him. Assault's actually pretty decent because he does do the spin, which does 7 times damage. So you can get every 10th attack or every 8th attack, and if you get 2 stars, we'll end up doing more damage. So not bad for a little more damage here. Shelter's a really good one for him, of course, because it gives it the absorb option of a shield, which keeps him up a little longer. And then if you want to make him even the crazier, you can do fast chant on him, which increases his speed even further because he is the fastest character in the game, sitting at 179 with his skill. Add an extra 13 to that, and you're breaking barriers. So mock speed style. So definitely use him if you want to be the fastest character. Put fast chant on him, and he should be the only character that has that on. Unless you're doing PvP, then everybody can have it just to have the speed advantage, of course, right? Other ones that are not bad is Reckless. He will be the one taking damage, obviously, in the front, but the problem is with him, he doesn't really have high defense. He's not meant to have high defense, so he does have damage reduction, but he doesn't scale off defense that well, so not really a desirable one. So definitely fast chant, shelter, or assault. And if you want just broken formation, if you're going to use it for bosses, those are the big ones that you want to go with. All right, let's talk about the fighting souls. If you have not seen my full review of every fighting soul and ranking them all, he's up there actually. Was one of the best ones. So we're going to talk about that real quick. So his skill is called Wolf King. He gives HP bonus, attack bonus, defense bonus, and effect accuracy, which is important for him because he obviously is there to interrupt and stun. So this regular attacks additionally trigger a stomp that deals damage equal to 120% of attack with a 30% base chance to stun, and this increases based on your effect accuracy. So the more of this you have, the higher chance this 30% goes up more, right? The target for 2 seconds. So the level 5 assist is not that good. He jumps in the beginning of battle, does a spin for 7 hits, dealing 128% damage. He gives all your fighters 20 speed for 8 seconds after the skill is used. Really not the greatest skill, probably one of the worst ones in the game, to be honest. Unless you're doing it strictly for PvP, then it gives you the advantage in the start to start off your combo, especially if you're facing another fast team, but usually you want him in your lineup anyways. When Stomp triggers, the fighter recovers HP equal to 60% of attack, that's plus 10. When Stomp affects all enemies now, becomes an AoE and does 180% of damage, and he still gets that 60% heal off of his attack. And this last one here is extremely important. I haven't completed it yet because I'm saving all my resources for showcases, but removes the control effects inflicted on him immediately and triggers King Beast Spin as soon as he gets a stun or a hinder or like a weak, anything that's a status effect, that's a control effect, a charm, for example. He removes it, does the beast spin, does 300% damage instead. While performing the attack, he also gets the super armor, which can activate every 15 seconds for the skill in general, so you can interrupt and stun randomly by doing this. So really, really cool. Highly recommend getting the plus 30, making him an absolute powerhouse for not only AoE, but also the fact that he's the most important character for spins. And I'll show you a few examples of how he's used in that. If you haven't seen all my manual videos, all my free-to-plays, I use him for everything, and I've shown it 100 times, but we'll do it for the showcase anyways, okay? Let's move over to his garage. So, Feral Howl, increase the base chance that Wild Spin will stun by 20% instead of 10. This stun effect makes the damage target take 20% more damage. So if you do stun the targets, they take 20% more damage. Now keep in mind that will not work on bosses, making him very useless on bosses. Okay, he's strictly a PvE, PvP character. The stun effect makes the target take 60% more damage again, but they have to be stunned. Bosses will not be stunned, so will not affect how much damage you put off on bosses. So do not use him on a boss fight, guys. He's not meant for that. All right, let's go to his skills. His super, Wind Wolf Assault. Unleashes a deafening roar and attacks swiftly with 2 strikes, dealing 87% of attack in total. Gains 20% speed for 8 seconds once the skill is initiated. Alright, now it goes up to 646 and the duration of speed is gone to 12 instead of 8. And then it also increases the teammate speed by 10% for 12 seconds, and that's the one you're looking for. You'll rarely ever use this, to be quite honest, because you'll probably have a better special in place. But if you're looking for maximum speed, at level 3, this was the one you want to use because it will up the rest of your characters, especially for PvP, and you'll be taking advantage of the opponent pretty easily. Alright, Beast Smash. Unleashes a deafening roar at the opponent, strikes 3 times, dealing damage equal to 383 of attack in total. The final blow has a 50% chance to inflict bleed. He and I believe Adon and one other, I believe, are the only bleeds in the game. Some bosses require it. Sometimes it's nice to just have the stacks on a boss if you're a lower level character, just to get extra damage in. But if you go to level 2, he does 100% bleed, and he also, which is actually decreasing the healing people receive by 10%, and increases the damage that bleed does by 10% as well. For 10 seconds, it can stack up to 5 times. And each point of extra speed increases the skill's damage by 0.5, stacking up to 200% of the skill original damage. The final blow has now a 100% chance to inflict bleed. So why this one is important is, number 1, he buffs himself with speed. He also has a passive which gives him an extra 50 speed. If you use units like Chun-Li with her Whirlwind, which is I believe a combo 2, or no, her FS20, it increases the speed of the units by 50, all allies by 50. So if he's in that team, this damage will go higher and higher and higher, right? So it is pretty impressive on some bosses if you're looking to do a bleed run, or for example, the spider boss that requires bleed damage in order to reduce its defense. This is very important to use, but it's not the main skill. The main skill is this one, Wild Beast Spin. So spins into a tornado that strikes each target within range 7 times, dealing 455% of attack to each target. Each strike has a 10% base chance to stun the target for 1 second. Now, I know 1 second doesn't sound like a lot, but when this is used as an AoE, it can actually stop combos completely, and that's the purpose of it, is to interrupt and stop combos by using the stun or the interrupt effect. Damage increases to 525 of attack, and gains super armor during the skill, which means it can't be affected by any type of knockbacks. So the skill will go off no matter what. One thing to note, when you do this skill, there's a very split-second pause before the skill activates, so you do need to have better timing. So look at the black screen when it happens. That's when you want to do it. Just like right before the black screen, or just about the black screen of the enemy doing the special, that's when you want to pull this off. And remember, guys, so with the FS30, he'll be doing this more often, and it'll be only 300% attack damage, but you still have the chance to stun, and your stun will be increased based on your effect accuracy. Okay, so those are very important things to note when you're gearing him up. All right, his passive. When the battle begins, each point of extra speed granted to the fighter increases his damage reduction by 0.3, stacks up to 30%, and lasts until the end of battle. So as long as you give him more speed, this doesn't get removed. It'll last until he's alive. So increases speed by 10 seconds increases speed by 10 for 8 seconds at the start of the battle, so that increases the damage reduction right there. When the battle begins, each point of extra speed grants the fighter and other Wind faction teammates 0.4 to 0.2 damage reduction, stacks up to 40% and 20%. So 20% is for your allies, 40% is for you. So don't mistake in that. That's why there's a differentiation. And then lastly, when the battle begins, the fighter gains 50 speed for 8 seconds. That's what gives him the 179, and it pushes him for 8 seconds to be the fastest unit. So also giving you guys all more damage reduction, which actually lasts throughout the entire battle. Okay, so put him in with Chun-Li with her FS20 and add more speed to his repertoire, and this man can survive quite a few hits and also dish out pretty good damage and let you guys survive as well too. So in that case, he becomes the MVP for sure. Now, he is strictly a PvE and PvP character, no bosses. Don't use him on bosses, again, unless you have to, as a bleed spec on the one spider boss. But I'm going to show you guys why he's so important, okay? This is a bad team to do it on, because they're so much faster with their ults. Okay, 1, 2, and now. You see that? There you go. There's that interrupt, okay? So that's what I'm talking about. Now look, their combo doesn't go through, and they completely wasted that whole combo altogether. So it's extremely important to get that timing right, because if you don't, and there you go. So you did it again right there. If you don't, what ends up happening is they'll still complete their combo, but with that specific time where when the screen goes black, you almost got to press it a nanosecond before or right on time for that his animation to start going, because he does do a little like wind up, right? So time that perfectly, and you can interrupt 5 or 6 times even a whole combo and beat teams that are way stronger than you are. So there you guys have it. That's what makes him probably the most important unit, because you'll be using that manual tactic on your free-to-play or your pay-to-win on the hardest levels possible, and he's the only reason why you're going to advance. Believe it or not, it's not going to be a Bison or an MH Ken or anybody else. It'll be a B Zang who's going to give you that utility and that perseverance to continue stunning and interrupting and moving forward. So I hope you guys enjoyed the showcase. If you have any questions, please let me know. Remember, he is a PvE, PvP unit. Do not use him in boss fights. Alright guys, Payne, hope you enjoyed the video. We'll talk soon.